The morning rush at Sunrise Cafe had begun like any other. Maya wiped down the counter with quick, practiced movements, her dark curls tucked hastily beneath a faded blue bandana. The smell of fresh coffee and warm pastries filled the air as the first wave of customers pushed through the door, bringing with them the chill of early autumn. Maya had been working at the cafe for almost a year now. It wasn't her dream job, far from it, but the hours worked around her evening classes, and Leon, the owner, was decent enough. As she lined up clean mugs behind the espresso machine, a familiar tune crept into her mind, and without thinking, she began to hum softly. The bell above the door jingled, announcing the arrival of what the staff secretly called Table 7. 4 professionals who came in every weekday at 7:30 sharp, ordered the same drinks, and sat at the same corner table. They worked at the investment firm across the street and carried themselves with the kind of confidence that comes from expensive suits and comfortable bank accounts. "Good morning." Maya greeted them with a smile that didn't quite reach her tired eyes. The usual? One of them, a woman with perfectly styled blonde hair and a designer watch that probably cost more than Maya's monthly rent, nodded without looking up from her phone. "Yes, and try not to sing into our coffee today, A flush crept up Maya's neck as she turned to prepare their order. She hadn't even realized she'd been humming again. It was a habit she couldn't seem to break, one that connected her to a different life, a different version of herself that seemed further away with each passing day. "Did you hear her yesterday?" one of the men at Table 7 said, his voice intentionally loud enough to carry. Sounded like a cat caught in a dryer. Laughter rippled through the group as Maya focused on steaming milk for their lattes, pretending not to hear. Her hands trembled slightly as she poured, creating a lopsided pattern in the foam. "I mean, if you're going to provide entertainment with breakfast, at least make it good entertainment," another voice added. Maya placed their drinks on a tray and carried them over, still smiling because that's what the job required. As she set down each cup, she could feel their eyes on her, amused and dismissive. "Anything else?" she asked, her voice steady despite the knot forming in her throat. "Just some peace and quiet would be nice," the blonde woman replied, taking her drink without a word of thanks. Maya nodded and retreated to the safety behind the counter. She caught Leon watching her from the kitchen doorway, his bushy eyebrows drawn together in concern. She shook her head slightly. She didn't need rescuing, especially not from customers who spent as much as Table 7 did every week. The morning continued its familiar rhythm. Maya took orders, made drinks, cleared tables, and tried her best to keep her humming to herself. But music lived in her like a second heartbeat, and whenever her mind wandered, the melodies escaped without permission. During a brief lull, she ducked into the small break room to check her phone. 2 missed calls from her younger sister Lily and a text. "Rent is due Friday. Need another $200. Sorry." Maya sighed, leaning against the wall. She was already working double shifts at the cafe and weekend nights at a bar 3 blocks away. Sleep had become a luxury she could rarely afford, and her music theory textbooks gathered dust in the corner of the apartment she shared with Lily. Just 3 years ago, she'd been a scholarship student at the city's prestigious music conservatory, her voice instructors predicting a promising future. Then Mom got sick and the medical bills piled up, and someone had to step up when she passed. At 24, Maya became the responsible one, the provider, the one who put dreams on hold so her sister could finish high school without worrying about where their next meal would come from. "Hey," Leon appeared in the doorway, his kind face creased with concern. "You okay?" "Fine," Maya replied, tucking her phone away. "Just catching my breath." Leon hesitated. "Those folks at Table 7? They've been giving you a hard time about the singing thing again, haven't they?" Maya shrugged. "It's nothing. I shouldn't be doing it at work anyway." "Nonsense," Leon said firmly. "This place could use some music. Makes the coffee taste better." He winked at her. "Don't let them dim your light, kid." The warmth of his words carried her through to lunch service, where the cafe filled with a different crowd, students from the community college down the street, a few retirees who lingered over coffee and newspapers, young mothers with strollers who came for the cafe's famous cinnamon rolls. Maya moved between tables, refilling cups and clearing plates. Without realizing it, she began humming again, this time a piece she'd composed herself during her second year at school. It was a melody that spoke of hope and longing, of dreams deferred but not forgotten. A young man with paint-spattered jeans looked up from his sketchbook. That's beautiful, he said. What's it called? Maya froze, embarrassed to be caught in her private world. Oh, it's nothing. Just something I made up. You made that up? He seemed genuinely impressed. You should record it or something. She gave him an awkward smile and moved on quickly, but his words echoed in her mind. Once she'd believed her music could touch people. Once she'd imagined performing on real stages instead of just in her shower. The afternoon dragged on, and fatigue settled deep in Maya's bones. She'd been up until 2 the night before, trying to finish an assignment for her online business class, another practical choice for a practical future where music had no place. When Table 7 returned for their afternoon coffee break, Maya felt her shoulders tense. They swept in like they owned the place, talking loudly about deals and clients and figures that made her head spin. Well, if it isn't our little songbird, one of them remarked as Maya approached with menus. What's on the playlist today? Top 40 hits butchered beyond recognition? The others snickered, not bothering to hide their amusement. Maya bit the inside of her cheek and took their orders with mechanical efficiency. Back at the counter, she caught a glimpse of herself in the mirrored backsplash. Dark circles under her eyes, hair escaping from her bandana, the spark that once lit up her face now notably absent. For a moment she barely recognized herself. Don't take it personal, said Danny, the other server on duty. They treat everyone like they're invisible. I'm not invisible, Maya replied, surprising herself with the edge in her voice. They just wish I was silent. Their loss, Danny said with a shrug. I like your humming. It's like having a free concert while we work. Maya managed a small smile. Not much of a concert. Better than the radio Leon puts on. If I hear that same playlist one more time, I might scream. As the day wore on, Maya found herself thinking about music more than she had in months. While wiping down tables, she remembered the standing ovation after her solo in the conservatory's winter showcase. While counting the register, she recalled the way her vocal coach had described her tone. Like honey with a touch of smoke. Sweet, but complex. At closing time, Table 7 was still there, their business meeting dragging on as Maya swept around their feet and Danny pointedly collected empty cups from nearby. Tables. We're almost done, one of them said dismissively. When Leon politely informed them it was past closing time. Take your time, Leon replied with a tight smile that didn't reach his eyes. Then to Maya, you can go on home, honey. You look beat. I'll finish up here. Maya glanced at Table 7, still talking loudly about quarterly projections and market shares, completely oblivious to the fact that real people with real lives were waiting on them. It's okay, she told Leon. I could use the extra half hour on the clock. As she mopped around their table, she heard one of them mention her again. Should tell her it sounds awful. It's like working next to someone who thinks they're on American Idol, but would get laughed off stage in the first round. Heat rushed to Maya's face, not from embarrassment this time, but from anger. These people knew nothing about her, about the scholarships she'd earned, the recitals where she'd brought audiences to tears, the dreams she'd set aside to keep a roof over her sister's head. They didn't know that music was the only thing that made her feel alive some days. They didn't know that when she hummed, she was remembering who she really was beneath the apron and the exhaustion. For a brief, wild moment she imagined setting down her mop, standing in the middle of the cafe and singing at full volume, showing them exactly what her voice could do when it wasn't constrained to a hum. The fantasy was so vivid she almost smiled. Instead, she finished mopping in silence and hung her apron in the back room. As she collected her things to leave, she caught sight of her reflection again and straightened her shoulders. Tomorrow would be another long day of work, classes, and responsibility, but tonight, in the privacy of her apartment while Lily slept, she would sing, and no one at Table 7 could take that away from her. 3 days had passed since Maya had endured another humiliating encounter with Table 7. The weekend arrived with a drizzling rain that matched her mood as she rushed between tables at the cafe, which was unusually busy for a Saturday morning. Order up, called Leon from behind the counter, sliding 2 plates of avocado toast toward her. Maya balanced them on her arm alongside a bowl of oatmeal and navigated through the maze of tables. Her feet ached already, and she still had an 8-hour shift at the bar ahead of her. Last night, she'd stayed up late helping Lily with college application essays. Her sister was smart, smarter than Maya had ever been, and deserved a shot at the opportunities Maya had lost. "More coffee, please," called an elderly gentleman by the window. Maya nodded and hurried back to grab the pot. As she poured, her mind wandered to a melody she'd been working on in those rare quiet moments before sleep. Without realizing it, she began to hum softly. "That's lovely," the old man said, his eyes crinkling at the corners. "Reminds me of something my wife used to play on the piano." Maya smiled, a genuine one this time. "Thank you." The morning rush gradually eased, leaving just a scattering of customers enjoying late breakfasts. Leon emerged from the kitchen, wiping his hands on a dish towel. "Taking my break?" Maya told him, already untying her apron. She needed fresh air even in the rain. "Take your time," Leon replied, glancing at the half-empty cafe. "We're covered." Maya slipped out the back door into the small alley behind the building. She leaned against the brick wall under the small awning, closed her eyes, and took deep breaths of the damp air. Then, in the privacy of the empty alleyway with only the rhythm of raindrops for accompaniment, she began to sing. It wasn't the humming she did unconsciously while working. This was her true voice, rich and full, rising and falling with the emotion she kept bottled inside during her long days of customer service smiles. The song was her own creation, born from late nights and early mornings, from dreams deferred and hopes that refused to die completely. Lost in the music, she didn't hear the back door open. Leon stood frozen, the trash bag he'd been carrying to the dumpster forgotten in his hand. For nearly a full minute he just listened as Maya's voice soared above the patter of rain. Her eyes closed, her face transformed by the passion of her song. When she finished, the silence felt heavy. Then she turned and saw him. "Leon." Maya's hand flew to her throat, her cheeks burning with embarrassment. That was you," Leon asked, his voice hushed with something like reverence. "That was really you singing just now?" Maya looked at the ground, suddenly feeling exposed. "I was just messing around." Leon set down the trash bag and crossed his arms. "Messing around?" "Maya, that was incredible. Where did you learn to sing like that?" She shrugged, uncomfortable with his attention. "I used to study music. At the conservatory, before what?" The rain fell harder, drumming on the metal awning above them. Maya hadn't talked about this with anyone at work, had kept her past life separate from her present reality. But something in Leon's genuine amazement broke through her usual reserve. "Before my mom got sick, before the medical bills, before I had to grow up and get real jobs to take care of my sister." The words came out more bitter than she'd intended. Leon was quiet for a moment, studying her with new eyes. "So instead of becoming a professional singer, you're serving coffee and getting mocked by those suits at table 7 for humming while you work." Maya flinched at the blunt assessment. "Life happens. People adjust, and waste amazing gifts in the process," Leon said, shaking his head. He picked up the trash bag again and tossed it into the dumpster with more force than necessary. "Come inside when you're ready. It's getting cold out here." The rest of her shift passed in a blur of orders and cleaning. Maya caught Leon watching her several times with a thoughtful expression, but he didn't mention what he'd heard in the alley, and she was grateful. Her voice was a private thing now, a remnant of a different life. At 5 o'clock, Maya hung up her apron and gathered her things to leave. The bar across town expected her by 6, and she needed to change clothes and grab something to eat in between. "Maya," Leon called as she headed for the door. "Got a minute?" She glanced at her watch. "A short one." Leon gestured to a table in the corner. "Sit, please." Reluctantly, she perched on the edge of a chair. Leon sat across from her, his weathered hands folded on the table. "I need to tell you something," he began. "Before I opened this place, I ran a music venue downtown. The Blackbird. For almost 15 years, Maya's eyes widened slightly. The Blackbird had been legendary in local music circles, a launching pad for several artists who'd gone on to national careers. "You owned the Blackbird? Why didn't you ever mention that?" Leon shrugged. "It's in the past. The building got sold to developers, turned into luxury condos." A shadow crossed his face. "But that's not the point. The point is, I know talent when I hear it. I've heard thousands of singers, good and bad. And what I heard in that alley today, that was something special." Maya shifted uncomfortably. "Leon, let me finish," he said, holding up a hand. "I've been thinking about hosting music nights here at the cafe. Thursday or Friday evenings, after dinner service. Open mic style maybe, but with a featured performer each week. His eyes locked with hers. I want you to be our first featured performer. Maya stared at him in disbelief. Me, perform? Here? 3 or 4 songs, that's all. Leon leaned forward. I'd pay you, of course. More than you'd make on a regular shift. Maya's heart raced. The thought of singing in public again, of being watched and judged, sent a wave of anxiety through her body. I can't, she said, standing up abruptly. I haven't performed in years, and I need to get to my other job. I can't risk losing those hours. You wouldn't have to, Leon insisted. We'd work around your schedule, and it would just be a small crowd, nothing fancy, just a chance for you to share what you clearly love doing. You don't understand, Maya said, grabbing her bag. I haven't been on any kind of stage since... It's been a long time. I don't even have proper music anymore. All my sheet music, everything from school, it's gone. You didn't seem to need sheet music in the alley. Leon pointed out gently. That song you were singing, was that yours? Maya nodded reluctantly. It was beautiful, he said simply. People should hear it. People should hear you. The sincerity in his voice made her throat tighten. For a moment she could almost imagine it, standing in the corner of the cafe, singing her own songs, being heard instead of just background noise to be tolerated or mocked. I have to go, she said. I'll be late for my shift. Leon didn't try to stop her, but as she reached the door he called out, just think about it. No pressure. The first music night won't be for a couple of weeks anyway. Maya hurried down the street toward her apartment, her mind whirling. The idea was absurd. She'd left that world behind. She'd made her choice, or rather life had made it for her. She was a server now, a sister, a provider, not a singer, not anymore. But as she walked, the melody from the alley played in her head, and new verses formed themselves unbidden. By the time she reached her apartment, her fingers itched to write them down. Lily was at the kitchen table, surrounded by textbooks. She looked up when Maya entered. You're late. Thought you'd be at the bar by now. Got held up, Maya replied, heading straight to the bedroom to change. Leon had some crazy idea he wanted to talk about. What kind of crazy idea? Lily called after her. Maya pulled on her black shirt and pants for the bar. He wants me to sing at the cafe. For actual customers. There was a scramble of chair legs on linoleum, and then Lily appeared in the doorway, eyes wide. Are you serious? Maya, that's amazing. You have to do it. I don't have to do anything, Maya said, tying her hair back into a tight ponytail. I have actual jobs. Bills to pay, a sister to feed. I can feed myself, Lily protested. And this could be a job too. A singing job. Like you always wanted. Maya sighed, sitting on the edge of the bed to pull on her shoes. It's not that simple, Lil. I haven't performed in years. I'd probably freeze up or forget the words or be amazing, Lily interrupted. Like you always were. She sat next to Maya on the bed. Remember when I used to sit outside the practice rooms at school just to hear you sing? How the other students would stop in the hallway to listen. Maya remembered. She also remembered the crushing anxiety that had overwhelmed her at her final recital. How her throat had closed up. How the silence had stretched unbearably as the piano introduction played twice, 3 times, while she stood frozen on stage. That was a different person, Maya said quietly, standing up. I need to go or I'll miss the bus, Lily caught her arm. Just promise you'll think about it. Please, for me? Maya hesitated, then nodded. I'll think about it, but don't get your hopes up. As she rushed to catch the bus, Leon's words echoed in her mind. People should hear you. Once she had believed that too. Once she had thought her voice mattered. She wondered, as the city lights blurred past the bus window, if any part of that confident, hopeful person still existed somewhere inside her. And if so, whether she was brave enough to let her out again. The flyers appeared on Monday morning. Simple black and white printouts taped to the cafe walls and propped up on each table. Friday night music at Sunrise Cafe. Live performances starting at 7 p.m. First featured artist, Maya Chen. Maya nearly dropped the stack of menus she was carrying when she saw them. Leon, she called, marching toward the kitchen where he was checking in a delivery. What is this? He looked up, his expression a mix of guilt and determination. Advertising. For something I never agreed to do, Maya said, slapping one of the flyers down on the counter between them. You can't just put my name on these without asking me. Leon wiped his hands on his apron. I thought we had an understanding. You said you'd think about it. And I have been thinking about it, Maya replied. I've been thinking that it's a terrible idea. I've been thinking that I don't have time to prepare. I've been thinking that the last thing I need is to embarrass myself in front of customers who already think I'm a joke. Leon's bushy eyebrows drew together. Is that what this is about? Those jerks at table 7? Maya looked away. It's not just them. It's everything. How could she explain the knot of fear that formed in her chest whenever she imagined standing in front of an audience again? The memory of her voice failing her when it mattered most? The idea that she might reach for a dream only to have it crumble in her hands a second time? Look, Leon said more gently. If you really don't want to do it, I'll take down the flyers. I'll find someone else. He paused. But I think you'd be amazing. And I think deep down you want to do this. Maya stared at the flyer at her name in bold letters. It looked so official, so real. I don't have anything prepared, she said weakly. You have that song I heard you singing in the alley, Leon pointed out. And I bet you have others. The truth was she did. In the week since their conversation, Maya had found herself jotting down lyrics during her breaks, humming new melodies while folding laundry, even waking up with fragments of songs in her head. It was like Leon's suggestion had uncorked something inside her that had been sealed for years. Even if I wanted to, and I'm not saying I do. I can't afford to lose a shift at the bar, Maya said. Friday nights are good for tips, Leon smiled. I already thought of that. He pulled a folded piece of paper from his pocket and handed it to her. Here's what I can pay you for a 30-minute set. Plus, you'll still work your regular morning shift here. Maya's eyes widened at the number. It was more than she'd make in 2 nights at the bar. This is too much, she protested. No, Leon said firmly. It's fair payment for real talent. And if it goes well, we'll make it a regular gig. Maya felt something flutter in her chest, a feeling she hadn't experienced in a long time. Hope, maybe? Or excitement? I need to think about it, she said. For real this time, Leon grinned. Take all the time you need. Until Thursday night, anyway. That evening, Maya sat cross-legged on her bed with a notebook open in front of her. She'd dug out an old composition book from her school days, still half filled with songs she'd written during her time at the conservatory. As she flipped through the pages, memories flooded back. The excitement of creating something new, the satisfaction when a difficult phrase finally came together, the joy of sharing her music with appreciative ears. She turned to a blank page and began to write, the words flowing more easily than she'd expected. This was a new song, born from her current life. About working hard for dreams that keep changing. About finding beauty in unexpected places. About voices that refuse to be silenced. A soft knock interrupted her thoughts. Lily poked her head in, holding 2 mugs of tea. Peace offering? Her sister said. I know I've been pestering you about the singing thing. Maya smiled, making space on the bed. You're forgiven. Especially since you brought tea. Lily sat down and peered at the notebook. Are you writing a new song? Maya hesitated, then nodded. Maybe. I don't know if it's any good. Can I hear it? It's not finished. So? You used to play me unfinished songs all the time, that was true. Back when they shared a bedroom in their mom's apartment. Lily had been Maya's first audience for every new creation. Taking a deep breath, Maya began to sing softly, her voice gaining confidence as the melody took shape. It was a gentler song than the one Leon had heard in the alley, more hopeful, less angry. When she finished, Lily was quiet for a moment. Well? Maya asked nervously. I've missed hearing you sing, Lily said simply. Not just the humming you do when you're distracted. Really sing like you mean it. Maya closed the notebook. I'm scared, Lil. What if I freeze up again? What if no one likes it? What if they do? Lily countered. What if this is your chance to get back something you love? Maya sipped her tea, considering. Leon's offering good money. It's not about the money, Lily said. Well, not just about the money. It's about you. When did my little sister get so wise? Maya asked with a small smile. Someone in this family had to be the smart one. Lily teased. So are you going to do it? Maya took another sip of tea, feeling the warmth spread through her chest. I think I might. By Thursday, Maya had still not given Leon a definite answer, but she'd been practicing her songs whenever she was alone. On her breaks, in the shower, during her walk home from the bus stop, old songs and new ones weaving together into what might become a set list. Table 7 came in for their morning coffees as usual. Maya took their orders with the same professional detachment she always mustered around them, but today something felt different. Their mockery seemed smaller somehow, less important. As she set down their drinks, the blonde woman glanced at one of the flyers on a nearby table. "Music night?" she read aloud. "Didn't know this place was trying to be a venue now." "It's just something new we're trying," Maya replied neutrally. "Well, hopefully they've found someone who can actually carry a tune," one of the men said with a pointed look at Maya. "Unlike the current staff." Maya felt a flash of the old hurt, but it was quickly replaced by something else. A spark of defiance. They had no idea who she really was or what she was capable of, and maybe, just maybe, they were about to find out. "Enjoy your coffee," she said with a smile that felt surprisingly genuine. Later, as she wiped down tables during the afternoon lull, Leon approached cautiously. "So," he said, "tomorrow night. Should I be looking for another performer?" Maya took a deep breath. "No, I'll do it." Leon's face broke into a wide grin. "Really, you're sure?" "One night," Maya clarified. 4 songs. "And if it's terrible, we never speak of it again." "It won't be terrible," Leon assured her. "What changed your mind?" Maya thought of Lily's encouragement, of the songs flowing from her pen after being dammed up for so long, of the flyers with her name that made her feel like an artist again, instead of just a server. But mostly she thought of the people who had made her feel small and how badly she wanted to prove them wrong. "Let's just say I'm tired of being laughed at for something I used to be proud of," she said. Friday arrived with a knot of anxiety in Maya's stomach that grew tighter as the day progressed. She spilled a latte, mixed up 2 orders, and nearly crashed into Danny while carrying a tray of dirty dishes. "Easy there," Danny said, steadying her. "You okay? You seem jumpy." "Tonight's the music thing," Maya admitted. Danny's eyes widened. "Wait, are you the featured artist on the flyer?" "Maya Chen, I didn't know that was you." Maya nodded, feeling her cheeks warm. "That's so cool. I had no idea you were a singer." "I'm not. I mean, I was. I'm trying to be again, I guess." Maya fumbled for words. "I haven't performed in a long time." "Well, I'm definitely staying after my shift to hear you," Danny declared. "Want me to invite some friends?" The panic must have shown on Maya's face because Danny quickly added, "Or not. Whatever makes you comfortable. Small audience, big audience, either way, I'm sure you'll be great." As closing time approached, Leon began rearranging tables to create a small performance space in the corner. He set up a microphone on a stand and a small amplifier he'd brought from home. "Simple setup," he explained as Maya watched nervously. "Just enough so everyone can hear you clearly." People began to arrive shortly after 7, regular customers curious about the new event. A few musicians Leon had apparently invited. Lily with 2 of her friends from school, and to Maya's surprise, some of her co-workers from the bar who had switched shifts to come support her. The cafe, usually quiet in the evenings, hummed with conversation and anticipation. Maya peered out from the back room where she was trying to calm her racing heart. What had seemed like a manageable idea earlier in the week now felt overwhelming. There were at least 30 people out there, all waiting to hear her sing. 5 minutes, Leon called through the door. Maya nodded, though he couldn't see her. She smoothed her dress, a simple blue one she'd borrowed from Lily, and took another deep breath. She could do this. It was just singing. Just doing the thing she'd once loved more than anything. Just then, the bell above the cafe door jingled. Maya glanced out to see who had arrived and felt her stomach drop. The 4 people from table 7 walked in, looking around curiously. "You've got to be kidding me," she whispered to herself. Of all the nights for them to show up outside their usual routine. Lily appeared at her side. "Hey, almost time. You ready?" She followed Maya's gaze. "Aren't those the jerks who make fun of your humming?" Maya nodded, feeling ill. "Good," Lily said with surprising fierceness. "Now you can show them exactly what they've been missing." Leon's voice cut through the buzz of conversation in the cafe. "Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our first Friday night music at Sunrise Cafe." The small crowd responded with warm applause. "I'm thrilled to introduce our featured performer tonight. Some of you might already know her as the person who makes your morning coffee just right." He smiled. "What you might not know is that she has an incredible gift. Please welcome Maya Chen." Maya stepped out from the back room on legs that felt like they might give way beneath her. The lights seemed too bright, the faces too expectant. Her gaze fell on table 7, who had claimed a spot near the front. The blonde woman was checking her phone, apparently already bored. Maya took slow, measured steps to the microphone. She'd done this before, she reminded herself. Hundreds of times in classrooms and recital halls, but that had been years ago, before her confidence had been shattered, before life had pushed her dreams aside. She reached the microphone, adjusted it with trembling hands. The cafe had gone quiet, all eyes on her. Maya opened her mouth to introduce herself, but no sound came out. Panic flared in her chest. Not again. Not here. Her eyes found Lily in the crowd, who gave her an encouraging nod. Next to her sister sat Danny and the other cafe staff, their faces open and supportive. And there was Leon by the counter, his expression a mixture of hope and faith that made something shift inside her. Maya took a deep breath, closed her eyes for a moment, and when she opened them again, she looked directly at the people from table 7. "Good evening," she said, her voice steadier than she'd expected. "I'm Maya. Some of you might know me as that server who's always humming." A knowing laugh rippled through the regular customers. "Tonight I thought I'd actually sing instead." She nodded to Leon, who pressed play on the small digital piano he'd set up. The gentle introduction to her first song filled the room, a cover of an old jazz standard her mother had loved. Maya had chosen it deliberately, something familiar to ease herself back into performing. The first few notes came out soft, uncertain. She could feel the audience's attention, could almost sense them leaning forward, straining to hear. The blonde woman from table 7 whispered something to her companion, and they both smirked. Something hardened in Maya's chest. She took another breath, deeper this time, drawing from the place deep inside where her true voice lived. And then she really began to sing. The change was immediate and dramatic. Her voice filled the space, rich and clear, wrapping around the notes with the kind of control and emotion that comes from years of training and natural talent. The smirks faded from table 7's faces, replaced by expressions of surprise. As the song progressed, Maya felt something unlocking inside her, a door opening to a room she had closed off long ago. Music flowed through her, and with it a joy she had almost forgotten. The final notes hung in the air, sweet and lingering. There was a moment of silence, and then the cafe erupted in applause. Maya blinked, almost startled by the enthusiastic response. She glanced at table 7. They were clapping too, their faces showing confusion and reassessment. "Thank you," Maya said into the microphone, a genuine smile spreading across her face. "This next song is something I wrote during my time at the music conservatory. It's called Before the Rain." This time there was no hesitation. She launched into the song with confidence, her voice growing stronger with each phrase. It was a more complex piece than the first, showcasing her range and control. As she sang about anticipation and possibility, she found herself believing in the words again, feeling the hope behind them. When she finished, the applause was even louder. She caught sight of Leon at the back, beaming with pride. Lily was wiping away what looked suspiciously like tears. For her third song, Maya moved to the digital piano. "I'll accompany myself for this one," she said, settling onto the small bench. "It's something new I've been working on." Her fingers found the keys, and she began to play the melody that had come to her in the alley behind the cafe. The song was different now, fuller, more developed. She'd spent hours refining it over the past week, pouring all her frustrations and hopes into the lyrics. It was a song about being seen, about having a voice, about standing up after falling down. As she sang, she felt every word resonate with truth. This wasn't just a performance anymore. It was a declaration. The cafe had gone completely still, everyone transfixed. Even the staff behind the counter had stopped what they were doing to listen. Maya's voice rose and fell, delicate in some moments, powerful in others. When she reached the final chorus, she looked up from the keys and found herself meeting the gaze of the blonde woman from table 7. For once, there was no mockery in the woman's expression, only a kind of wonder, perhaps even respect. Maya held her gaze as she sang the final lines, her voice clear and unwavering. The silence that followed was profound, like the whole room was holding its breath. Then someone started clapping, and within seconds everyone joined in. People rose to their feet, the applause washing over Maya like a wave. Leon stepped forward, his face glowing with satisfaction. "Didn't I tell you?" he said to the crowd. "Didn't I say we had something special here?" He turned to Maya. "One more?" Maya nodded, overwhelmed by the response but riding the high of performing again. For her final song, she chose another original piece, this one more upbeat, almost defiant. As she sang about finding strength in unexpected places, she felt exactly that strength flowing through her. The crowd was with her now, some swaying, others tapping along. Even the men from Table 7 seemed captivated, their usual air of superiority replaced by genuine appreciation. When Maya hit the final note, holding it with perfect control before releasing it into the air, the cafe exploded with cheers and whistles. She stepped back from the microphone, breathless and flushed with success. Leon rushed forward to hug her, and then Lily was there too, throwing her arms around her sister. "I knew you could do it," Lily whispered fiercely. "I knew you still had it in you." People began to approach, offering congratulations and compliments. A young man with glasses asked if she had recordings available. An older woman said the performance had brought tears to her eyes. Danny hugged her and demanded to know why she'd been hiding this talent all this time. Maya accepted their praise with growing confidence, still riding the high of performing again. It felt like waking up after a long sleep, like finding a piece of herself that had been missing. After most of the crowd had dispersed, Maya was helping Leon clear cups from tables when she noticed someone approaching. It was the blonde woman from Table 7, standing alone and looking uncharacteristically uncertain. Maya braced herself, unsure what to expect. "I owe you an apology," the woman said quietly. Of all the things Maya had imagined hearing from this woman, an apology wasn't one of them. "For what?" Maya asked, though she knew perfectly well. "For being rude about your humming, for making fun of you." The woman looked genuinely uncomfortable. "I had no idea you could sing like that. It was incredible, actually." Maya set down the cup she was holding. "Thank you," she said simply. "I'm Vivian," the woman said, extending her hand. "I work at the investment firm across the street." "I know," Maya replied, shaking her hand. "You order a soy latte with an extra shot, no foam, every morning at 7:30. Vivian had the grace to look embarrassed. "Well, next time I'll make sure to say thank you." After she left, Leon sidled up beside Maya. "What did the queen bee want?" "To apologize, actually," Maya said, still a little stunned. Leon grinned. "Nothing like raw talent to make people reassess their assumptions, huh?" Maya smiled back, feeling lighter than she had in years. "I guess so." As they finished cleaning up, Leon handed her an envelope. "Your payment, as promised. Plus a little extra because, frankly, you exceeded all expectations." Maya took it gratefully. "Thank you. Not just for this, but for pushing me." "So," Leon said casually, "same time next week?" Maya hesitated only briefly. "Yes," she said. "Same time next week." Outside, the night air was cool on her flushed face. Lily linked arms with her as they walked toward the bus stop. "You were amazing," Lily said for perhaps the 20th time. "Everyone loved you." "It felt good," Maya admitted. "Really good, like..." She searched for the right words. "Like finding a part of myself I thought was gone forever." "It wasn't gone," Lily said. "Just waiting for the right moment." Maya smiled, realizing her sister was right. Her voice hadn't disappeared during those silent years. It had been there all along in her humming and her private songs, in the music that never quite left her head. As they waited for the bus, Maya felt her phone buzz with a text. It was from Leon. "People already asking when you'll perform again. Think we might need to print more flyers." Maya read the message to Lily, who squeezed her arm excitedly. "You're going to be famous." "At least cafe famous," Maya laughed. "Let's not get ahead of ourselves." But as the bus arrived and they climbed aboard, Maya couldn't help thinking about new songs, about possibilities that suddenly seemed within reach again. The path ahead wasn't clear yet. She still had bills to pay, responsibilities to meet. But for the first time in years, it felt like that path might include music after all. And that night, when she hummed while getting ready for bed, she didn't try to stop herself. Instead, she let the melody grow, unafraid to let her voice be heard. 6 months had passed since Maya's first performance at Sunrise Cafe. Winter had given way to spring, and spring had bloomed into early summer. The Friday night music sessions had become a staple of the local scene, with lines often forming outside the door before opening. Maya stood behind the counter, steaming milk for a customer's latte. She hummed without self-consciousness now, her voice rising and falling with the hiss of the espresso machine. The cafe walls were decorated with framed photos from various music nights, and a chalkboard near the entrance announced upcoming performers. "Here you go," Maya said, handing the latte to a young woman with paint-spattered jeans. "Are you coming tonight?" "I've got some new material I'm trying out," the woman grinned. "Wouldn't miss it. My whole art class is coming." This was Maya's life now, serving coffee in the mornings, preparing for performances in the afternoons, and transforming into something like a local celebrity on Friday nights. Leon had expanded the music program to include Saturday afternoons as well, featuring other local artists. But Friday evenings remained Maya's night. The bell above the door jingled, and Maya looked up to see Vivian from Table 7 walking in. Over the months, a strange sort of friendship had developed between them. Not close exactly, but a mutual respect that neither would have predicted. "Morning," Vivian said, approaching the counter. "Soy latte, extra shot, no foam," Maya finished with a smile. "Coming right up." As she prepared the drink, Maya noticed Vivian wasn't alone. A man in an expensive suit stood a few steps behind her, looking around the cafe with interest. "This is the place I was telling you about, Greg," Vivian was saying. "The coffee is excellent, but the music is the real draw." The man nodded politely. "I've heard good things. Hard to believe such a small venue has created such a buzz." Maya set Vivian's latte on the counter. "Here you go. Who's your friend?" "This is Greg Porter," Vivian said. "He's in town scouting talent for Bay Area Records. I was just telling him he has to come hear you tonight." Maya froze. Bay Area Records was a small but respected indie label that had launched several successful artists in recent years. She'd read about them in her music school days, dreamed of them discovering her someday. And now their scout was standing in her cafe because of a recommendation from someone who had once mocked her humming. Life was strange sometimes. "Nice to meet you," Maya managed to say. "Are you in town long?" "Just for the weekend," Greg replied. "Vivian's been talking you up all morning. Says you're the real deal." Maya shot a surprised look at Vivian, who seemed almost embarrassed by the acknowledgement. "Well, I hope you'll come tonight and judge for yourself," Maya said, trying to sound casual despite the sudden flutter in her chest. After they left, Maya pulled out her phone and called Lily. "You'll never believe who just came into the cafe," she said when her sister answered. "Let me guess," Lily replied. "Another music blogger wanting to interview the amazing Maya Chen?" Maya laughed. The local arts paper had run a small feature on her the previous month, calling her the city's best-kept musical secret. It had been surreal to see her name in print again, this time not as a promising student but as a working artist carving her own path. No better. A scout from Bay Area Records. Lily's squeal was so loud that Maya had to hold the phone away from her ear. "Are you serious? That's huge. Did you talk to them? Did you give them your demo?" Maya hadn't planned to tell anyone about the demo she'd been working on in a friend's home studio. 4 original songs recorded over weekends and evenings when she wasn't working or performing. "How did you know about that?" she asked suspiciously. "Please," Lily scoffed. "You're my sister. I notice when you disappear every Sunday afternoon for 3 months. Maya sighed. "I wanted it to be perfect before I told anyone. And anyway, I didn't give it to him. He hasn't even heard me sing yet." "He's coming tonight on Vivian's recommendation." "Vivian? As in make fun of your humming Vivian?" "The very same," Maya confirmed. "People change, I guess." "Well, you better bring your A game tonight," Lily advised. "This could be it, Maya, your big break." After hanging up, Maya went through her shift in a daze, spilling coffee twice and mixing up orders. Leon noticed her distraction and pulled her aside during the afternoon lull. "What's going on with you today? You seem a million miles away." Maya told him about Greg Porter's visit and Vivian's unexpected recommendation. "Bay Area Records." Leon nodded approvingly. "They've got good ears over there. Sign indie artists, but don't try to change them too much." "You think it's serious?" Maya asked. "Or just someone doing a favor for a friend?" "Only one way to find out," Leon said. "Give them a show they can't ignore tonight." By the time evening arrived, Maya's nerves were stretched to the breaking point. She paced in the back room of the cafe, running through her set list again and again. She'd chosen her strongest original songs, plus one cover that always got a strong response. Lily arrived early to help her get ready, armed with a new dress she'd insisted Maya buy for the occasion, deep blue with silver threads that caught the light when she moved. You look like a star, Lily declared, as Maya twirled nervously. Now act like one. Through the door they could hear the cafe filling up. Friday nights were always busy now, but word had somehow spread about the scouts' visit and the crowd sounded larger than usual. Leon poked his head in. Standing room only out there. I've had to turn people away. He whistled when he saw Maya. Look at you, from server to superstar. Maya rolled her eyes, but his confidence in her helped steady her nerves. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Too late, Leon grinned. Ready in 5? Maya nodded, and when he left, she turned to her sister. I can't believe this is happening. Believe it, Lily said firmly. You've earned it. 5 minutes later, Maya stepped out to thunderous applause. The cafe was packed, every table full, people standing along the walls and crowded near the entrance. She spotted Greg Porter sitting with Vivian near the front, his expression curious but non-committal. Thank you all for coming, Maya said into the microphone. Especially those of you who've been here from the beginning. Her gaze found Leon, who raised his coffee mug in a silent toast. Tonight feels special somehow. She began with a new song, one she'd been working on for weeks. It was about transformation, about shedding old fears and stepping into the light. As she sang, Maya felt herself doing exactly that, letting go of the last lingering doubts, the memory of her voice failing her years ago, the fear that had kept her silent for so long. The crowd responded with energy that matched her own, clapping and swaying. Even Greg Porter seemed to be leaning forward, his professional reserve slipping just a bit. For her second song, Maya moved to the piano. A real one now, not the digital keyboard they'd started with. Leon had invested in better equipment as the music nights gained popularity, upgrading the sound system and even renovating the corner of the cafe to create a proper small stage. She played the melody that had once been just a hummed tune while she worked, now fully realized as a complete song. It had become something of a signature piece for her, and regular audience members sang along with the chorus. When she glanced at Greg Porter, she saw him recording a snippet on his phone. Their eyes met briefly and he gave her an approving nod. By the third song, Maya was completely in the zone, her voice strong and confident, her connection with the audience electric. She'd come so far from the nervous woman who had nearly fled the cafe before her first performance. For her final number, Maya chose the song she'd sung in the alley that day when Leon discovered her voice. The angry, defiant piece born from years of suppressing her talent and dreams. She'd refined it over the months, but it still held the raw emotion of its origin. When the last note faded, the cafe erupted. People jumped to their feet, applauding and cheering. Maya took a small bow, her heart racing, her face flushed with the joy of performing. As the crowd began to disperse, Greg Porter made his way to where Maya stood talking with Leon and Lily. That was quite something, he said, extending his hand. Vivian wasn't exaggerating. Thank you, Maya replied, trying to sound professional despite her excitement. Greg handed her his card. We should talk. Do you have any recordings I could hear? Maya exchanged a quick glance with Lily, who gave her an encouraging nod. Actually, I do, Maya said. I've been working on a demo. 4 original songs. Perfect, Greg said. Send them to the email on my card and we'll set up a proper meeting next week. I think there might be a place for you at Bay Area Records. After he left, Maya stood in shocked silence, staring at the business card in her hand. Did that just happen? She finally asked. Leon laughed, clapping her on the shoulder. It sure did, kiddo. Told you they'd be crazy not to sign you. This calls for a celebration, Lily announced, pulling a small bottle of champagne from her bag. I came prepared, just in case. As they toasted her potential future, Maya looked around the cafe, at the space that had gone from being just a job to the place where her dreams had been reborn. The customers who had once been strangers were now fans and friends. The corner that had once been just a coffee station was now a stage where she had found her voice again. Even if nothing comes of this, Maya said, even if the record deal falls through or doesn't work out, these past 6 months have been amazing. Thank you both for believing in me. You did all the hard work, Leon said. I just provided the microphone. Later that night, as Maya and Lily walked home under the stars, Lily asked, So how does it feel? Being discovered? Maya thought for a moment. It feels like coming home, like I've been wandering for years and finally found my way back to where I belong. Singing? Not just singing, Maya clarified. Being heard. Being seen for who I really am,